Welcome to Purpose Project, where we are exploring the topic of purpose in the workplace. My name is Leslie Pagel, and I am glad that you're here with us. In this episode, I sit down with Ting Mei Chong. For Ting Mei, purpose isn't a destination or a checklist. It's a conscious choice to live with joy, presence, and happiness. In this episode, Ting Mei and I explore how purpose can be a way of being and how choosing happiness influences us in and outside of the workplace. Let's take a listen. Ting Mei, thank you for being on Purpose Project. I'm really looking forward to having a conversation about how purpose shows up in the workplace.
Hi, Leslie. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Before we jump into the topic of purpose, tell us a little bit about you. Who is Ting Mei, both personally and professionally?
So I am a mother to two girls, a daughter, sister, a friend. So I currently work as a customer engagement and advocacy manager at a global tech company. I've been with the company for over 5 years now, and I've spent the last, oh, this is gonna like age me, but yeah, I've spent I guess 25 years working. So I'm working a long time.
Yes,
Mm.
that doesn't age you, it's experience.
Yes, for sure. And I have gone through it all. So yeah, I feel like I have a little bit, of insights to life, maybe to
Mhm.
share with my kids mostly.
Absolutely. Have you
Yeah.
always been in the role of customer experience advocate?
I've always been in marketing. It's a marketing role. So, yeah, pretty much I've been in marketing my entire work life. Did start out as PR, investor relations, communications type role, but this sort of also marketing. So, yeah.
Okay, yeah, and always in tech companies?
Yes, tech companies.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I heard, real connection to people, family, friends, and then a professional career in marketing for tech companies.
Yes, that's me.
Well, one question I ask everyone on the show is, do you have a life's purpose?
It's funny because for some reason, I've been getting this question a lot of late. So, um, and growing up in Malaysia with a Chinese family, and my parents are working class, middle class,
Mhm.
so they work really hard to just like provide for us, and never really like think about anything else. So like to think about life's purpose, like, what do you mean? Life's purpose is just to provide for your family.
Right.
So no, I haven't really thought about that until like, yeah, like I said recently. And I'm like, you know what? I have studied hard, worked hard, I've provided for my family. And I feel like now, yeah, I can say I'm at a place where I can think about what is life's purpose other than just providing for your
Right.
family. And I think for me right now, it's really about finding happiness, finding happiness, sharing it, spreading it, keeping it, and just trying to instill that with people around me.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
that's
love
my life's
that.
purpose now.
Yes. Yeah. So it's a little bit of transitioning from this purpose of caring for my family and helping them, nurturing them and growing them into this cultivating of happiness, not just for yourself, but for the people around you.
Yeah, because I mean, some people just like what I've noticed could be just living, like what
Mhm.
really like what's the point of that? I like life can be so joyful. So why not go out, find
Right.
happiness, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone recently mentioned a poem, and I don't remember who it was from or any of it, but the essence of the poem was when you look for something, you're going to find what you're looking for. And so if you're looking for hate and anger, then you're going to find it. But if you're looking for happiness and joy, you're going to find that too.
Yeah,
And
it's what you put your time and effort into, right? Like being intentional and consistent with what
yes.
you're, yeah, that
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah, and to your point, like purpose is about living, it's about living life
Hmm.
on purpose and with intention. And we have
Hmm.
the opportunity to do that. We don't have to just let each day go by. We can take responsibility and look for happiness and cultivate it for others and do all that.
Yeah, yeah. And I think like the old ways of thinking, or at least my parents' generation, maybe just my parents, I don't know, just like living for your kids or, as I mean, it's good, for the kids, but then like, well, now your kids are gone. So, like find meaning for
Now
yourself.
what? Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, season 2 of Purpose Project is all about how purpose shows up in the workplace. And I have been talking with individuals from various parts of the organization and various levels of the organization to explore how purpose shows up. And I'd love to hear from you as someone in the tech world, someone in a marketing function. How do you see purpose show up in the workplace?
Like you're basically spending a third of your day working, maybe even more. Like I guess it's more than half your waking hours, right? Working with people. And if you can't find meaning for that, it is going to be such a drag
Mhm.
to your life, to your days. So I think purpose is really important in bringing all that together so that, yeah, you're happy with what you're doing. Because yeah, why live if you're not going to be happy
Mhm.
doing what
Right.
you do? Yeah, and how you live your life.
So when I hear that, I hear very much people finding joy in their work or doing work that is joyful for them, or at least not kind of miserable.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, I remember my first job. After a while, I was just like dreading going to work. And every Sunday night, I'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe I have to start this the next 5 days. And I was just miserable. And that's exactly it, right? Like, why be miserable? So
Mhm.
find work that you love to do, or people. And it's important to find people that you can work with, are happy to work with too, right? Because
Mhm.
yeah, you don't work in isolation. That's so important. People that you work with, the work that you do has to spark joy.
Right, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I totally agree. And it's one of the reasons why I was so excited about season 2 is because we do spend so much time at work. But then I look around and I see so many people that seem unhappy in their work, like what you were describing,
Mm.
and just makes me wonder, is that okay for some people to just have a job to acquire money and be unhappy in it, or can everyone have both?
I think you can. I think most of us can do anything, right? So why choose to do something that you're going to be unhappy and miserable about?
Mhm.
It- There, I feel there's a lot of opportunities out there, right? So find the right one if you can. I know some people may not have the ability or the means to take their time and find something that they can be happy doing. Um, but if you can, certainly do that. And if you're not happy where you are right now, just um, do that while searching. Continue
Mhm.
to look for what you like to do, doing something that you like to do, because I think it's just such a miserable life that if you had to do something that you don't like doing, because that was what it was like for me for like 5 years, or okay, I'm exaggerating, maybe 2 years. And then something came up, and, like since then, I've always done work that I was very excited to do. I'm happy to do. So I think it's possible. We just have to set our mind to it, right?
Yeah.
And not give up. Because when you work at it, when you're hopeful, and again, you embody this happiness, right, then opportunities will present themselves. If you don't give up, just keep
Yeah.
at it
Right.
with a good, positive attitude,
Hmm.
right? So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
my
and
take.
I think that that concept of not giving up is so important because in some ways when people stay in a job that they aren't happy in, that is giving up, right?
Yeah,
On themselves.
yeah. And then it will show in your work, in your personal life. You might take it out on other people, and that's just, yeah, then everybody else becomes miserable. You become even
Mhm.
more miserable, you know.
Right.
So yeah, I would yeah, never stay in a job that you're not happy with. And
Right.
I've seen people actually who have stayed in their jobs for like decades. And maybe some people have managed, even if they're not happy, but if you're able to do that, maybe find happiness elsewhere.
That's what I was wondering. Is it that our work should fulfill our purpose?
Mm,
Or is it that our work should be a place that doesn't make us miserable, where we can go and do the work to get paid for it so that we can live our purpose outside of work?
yeah, that might be a possibility. I think if you're so good at what you do that it's just like second nature to you, and you're not striving to be better,
Mhm.
and it's just a job, right? Then yeah, if you have the time to go focus on something else outside of work, maybe that's passable, and you can sustain that work and find passion for something else outside of work. Sure, I think that could work for some people.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
yeah, maybe it's not a one size fits all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I hear from you is you're in a position right now that you enjoy. And is that because of your purpose or is that because of something else?
Um, yeah, I enjoy doing my work. I do a lot of writing and also interacting with customers, different teams throughout the company. Um, and I like doing that. Brings me joy. And I like interacting with people, with customers. When I get to make them happy, it makes me happy, right? So happiness begets happiness.
Uh-huh.
So it comes full circle, right? So what better feeling than to make someone else feel good, and yeah, be able to spread that, and this world will be so much better with less hate and more joy, right? So why not do that? um
Right.
yeah, day in day out.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and it seems very much connected to your purpose, where you
yeah,
talk about your purpose is to explore happiness, to cultivate it, to share
yeah,
it with others. And that for you happens also in the workplace as a place where you get to make your customers feel happy and you get to become happy in doing that.
yeah, it's a great feeling. There are other types of feelings, but happiness, I think everybody wants to be happy,
Mhm.
right? So if you can do that in little meetings, little talks with people, communications, emails, why not?
Right.
And just, yeah, it's just the right tone. Like all it takes is that. Just how you position things is,
Right.
yeah, makes a world of difference.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've been talking about your purpose and how going to work needs to be something more that kind of fills up your cup than takes from it. What is from your perspective and your experience, what is the responsibility for the company to create an environment for you to do that? Do they have a responsibility in it?
Yeah, for sure. Where I work, yeah, I think our HR is doing a great job. We've got values, what we call these epic values. And I've never been at a company where I think everyone works so well together and are very supportive of each other. So everyone wants everyone else to succeed and do well. We help each other out. And when you do that, the whole company does well. So it is in the company's best interest to obviously keep your employees happy.
Right.
And I'm fortunate that my company does do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned the values. Is that where you see most of that culture coming from, is through the values, or are there other things that help create that environment of teamwork and lifting each other up?
Yeah, I think eh, and going with those values as well, it's not just lip service, right? They have to actually
Right.
do the work. So that we have a lot of like activities and internal meetings, or they bring speakers in to talk about different things like diversity, inclusion, right? And all of this is to sort of cultivate a community within the company with the employees. So we're a global company where we have offices all over the world and we all work remotely. So some of
Mm.
us don't even see each other in person,
Yeah.
right? But through these events, we're able to come together, support each other inside and outside of work,
Mm.
right? People run or have different initiatives outside of work, and we all support each other. So we have like World Cleanup Day, and people have different causes, and they share them. And feel free to support as you wish.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's it's really interesting because as you're talking, I've had conversations about how this cultivating this environment can be easier in smaller organizations, but you're in this big global remote workforce and you still feel very much connected into the spirit of
Mm.
teamwork, support, growth of each other in the business and our customers.
Yeah, I've worked at other big companies as well, and I feel they're not as integrated. And here we're just like, my manager's based in France. Um, I have someone reporting into me from the States, and we work with companies, other teams from like all over.
Mhm.
So, and we come together on different causes, topics, and we're able to do that. Everyone's really like supportive
Yeah.
of each other. So,
Who
yeah.
who leads that? How does that happen?
The leadership, really, we have internal champions, and some of the executives will champion certain causes as well, like women's rights or whatever, different things. So it has to come from the top, right? Like,
Mm.
yeah, who better to help spread this message of camaraderie and community than your leaders?
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's to come from there, and then obviously HR as well that will sponsor these events.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've found that most organizations have mission, vision, values, those things,
Mm-hmm.
but having a statement of purpose is not as common. Does your
Mm.
company have a statement of purpose?
I'm actually working on a customer experience charter. So I was looking into what our corporate values, mission, vision were as well. So, but I don't remember seeing
Mhm.
purpose.
Mhm.
It probably falls under the mission,
That's
right?
how it's been coming up, is
Yeah.
that it tends to be use synonymously with mission, that there's a lot of overlap in those two. So
Yeah.
does your company have a mission statement? Because I'm curious, because you're in marketing, right? And so a part of your role is also to create this external awareness and connection to the brand,
Mm-hmm.
and what it stands for and why it exists and all of that. Do you do that in your job, or is that somewhere else in marketing?
So I used to fall under corporate marketing, and and actually external communications and branding.
Okay.
So we did, well, my other team um did manage some of the branding positioning. And our tagline is because connections matter.
Mm,
So everything that we do is to build those connections with our customers, enable our customers to build connections with their customers, right?
right,
So we have software and hardware that will do all that,
right.
and support that objective.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. So that piece of it, of connecting customers to mission, purpose, is in the marketing function as well. Yeah.
yeah, and connecting each other, because every company wants to be connected to their customers,
Mhm.
right? And in my role too, so as a customer engagement and advocacy manager, my role is to build those relationships with our customers and make sure that we are nurturing those connections at every touch point that we have
Mm.
with our customers, and making sure that they are feeling valued, that we're providing the right resources to them in order for them to do their jobs or advance in what they do.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Which all of that feels very much connected to this tagline of because connections matter. And
yeah.
you can directly see in the work that you do how you are carrying out that focus of connection in the work that you do.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, because yeah, how else do you build relationships, right, with your customers? It's through the everyday interactions. It may not come from just one person, right?
Mhm.
It's all our teams that touch the customers. You've got
Right,
customer success, you've got support, PSO, marketing. So all of these roles have to come together, and yeah, which is why I'm now building out this CX charter to have our own vision and mission and goals, so that we can all be aligned in how we are going to be there for our customers, right?
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I remain curious about this overlap of individual purpose and then this view of company purpose. Our purpose for this company is to help our customers create connections and in things like that. And so there's these different perspectives of purpose, right? There's the individual and then there's the shared purpose of the company. Do you see how those two things might overlap in your work?
I mean, ultimately, it's it, y- happiness carries through, right? So it's when you connect with a customer and present a positive, joyous outlook, it comes back, right? It's all about how you show up,
Mhm.
right? And I think people will appreciate a positive outlook better than if you came at them like negatively.
Right,
It does carry through. Personally, if you are happy, it will show in your work, and yeah, so that carries through to everything that you do,
right.
right?
Mhm.
And then your teams around you feel it, your customers feel it, and it all comes back.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that perspective sounds more from the individual in their role, brings their purpose to the workplace. And in allowing them to do that, it helps the company's purpose achieve what it's trying to do.
Exactly. It's like if you are happy doing what you do, it comes through your work and you can focus on your work.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, it just
Yeah.
comes through.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's the benefit of that?
Well, as a business, when your customers come back, obviously everything else has to be, you have to provide good products, good services as well. It's just,
Mhm.
good feelings aren't gonna sell, right? So everything else also has to come into play. But yeah, if you have all of that, then um, that's the edge, right? That you have over a competitor or someone else that might not have such a good outlook.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I think sometimes maybe even if your products and services aren't as good as the competition, but then you have a super relationship with your customers because they like you and they like the kind of feelings that you evoke, right? From
Mhm.
them, that they they will go with that, right? And who wants to work with someone who's miserable or mean or yeah, yeah. Yeah, and who's just out to get you or doesn't care about you really, and just cares about closing business, closing a sale, right? So yeah, I think really your personality and how you present the company in a
Mhm.
positive way, um, that all benefits the company.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
As you were talking, I just kept thinking competitive differentiation. Because in a scenario, not your company, but where there is a company that might not have
Mhm.
the state of the art product, but it's leading with helping employees bring their full selves, their purpose into the workplace, it could give them a competitive advantage because it creates this relationship and this energy with the customers that could overshadow the product.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's exactly it, the energy. When you bring like a positive um energy into a connection, people can't help but like want to stay there with positive energy, right?
Right.
Positive, happy energy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. And sometimes I think people feel like this topic of energy is like woo woo or whatever. But the reality is, you feel energy. We feel
Mm-hmm.
it. People
Mm-hmm.
don't need to open their mouth. We just know sometimes
Yeah.
when someone's upset or happy or joyful just because of the energy that they carry with them. And
Yeah.
so having employees that can bring that energy by
Yeah.
bringing their purpose into the workplace creates that opportunity to really connect with customers and create that competitive advantage.
Yeah, exactly. And when you support your employees' purpose, your employees want to also support you, right? And give
Mhm.
back, right? And do their best for the company.
Yeah.
So again, it's like a full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have conversations in your work about individual purpose?
Mm, um, I don't think it comes off that way. It's more about professional development.
Mhm.
So maybe in a sense,
Mhm.
If you grow professionally, would that help you personally? And so indirectly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned earlier how there's these things where people outside of work go together and support each other and things like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
And while that might not be talking about this is my purpose and in like direct language, it's
Yeah.
indirectly connected to what people enjoy doing because that's how they're spending their time out of work.
Yeah. Yeah. It's supporting our passions, right? Like outside of work too. So in a sense, the company is supporting employees that way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What advice do you have for people who are listening who may be in a work situation where they're not happy? They can't live out their purpose in their work environment. What advice do you have for them?
So I would say happiness is a choice, right? You can be in that situation and choose to be happy or fix that situation
Mhm.
if you're unhappy about that situation. It might take time, but as long as someone is consistently working at it, and the more like the positive energy that you put out, right, the more it comes back.
Yeah.
So if we lead with that, treat people with kindness and empathy, and also working on yourself, right? And find a solution and work at it. And no matter how long it takes, sometimes it might take a long time. Um, and surround yourself with other like-minded people, but positive support,
Mhm.
right? I think, yeah, that's important.
Yeah, yeah. So I heard there, if you're not happy in your job, you don't need to stay there. You have to make a choice. You can choose to be happy in your job, or you could choose to look for other alternatives, but do something. Don't just live life in a job where you're unhappy.
Yeah. And maybe that job has turned, I don't know, humdrum or whatever, but find something else within the job that can turn it around, or
Yeah.
talk to your manager, find something else within the company, maybe.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, just don't stew in, in that situation.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, move into action, take responsibility and
Yeah.
do something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
Do
And
you
all with a positive, outlook.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that because when you talk about, like, choosing happiness and we can choose, um, I think for some people, choosing the more optimistic or the more upbeat, positive outlook can be difficult.
Mm,
Sometimes people are just more hardwired to cup is half empty instead of cup is half full.
yeah.
Any advice for that person whose natural tendency is to be more, let's look for what could go wrong and look for the negative?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a really hard one because I think I'm more of an optimist as well. So it's hard when I see that, and it's like, how do I help this person? First, you need someone to like actually point that out. Why are you living like this? It's not healthy. It doesn't do anything for your life. So
Mhm.
make a change, and it's hard to even get the person to see this other way. But if possible, surround yourself with happy people.
Right.
Uh, I
Yeah.
think it'll rub off. But um,
It
or it might backfire. I don't know. It's yeah, that's a hard one. I am not sure what to do in those situations. They have to want to help themselves,
Yes, that's
you know?
a good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it does require effort.
It
It does
does.
require you to do something, even if it's just changing your mindset, that
Yeah,
still is effort.
absolutely. And that's exactly it. You have to want to change your mindset.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, you can't do it if you don't have that mindset already. And so you need someone in your support system to be able to like show you, tell you
Yeah.
that, yeah, you
Yeah.
need this change. Yeah.
Well, and maybe that is something that they could do is if they don't have that outlook, they could spend some time and explore their mindset. What is it that lends me to be more negative? And when does that serve me? And when doesn't it serve me? And just poke at that question and peel it
Mhm.
back and see what's underneath there.
Yeah. It's kind of tricky because some people, maybe they're happy being like that.
Huh? Yeah. Yeah.
If they're happy being that way, then their happiness.
Oh, any other advice for those who are listening?
I don't know if I have any profound advice. Just thinking if I'm like talking to my kids, right? It's a state of being and it's a choice, right? So choose happiness or misery, which would serve you better,
Right.
right? And you're if you're expending your energy on negative, this heavy feelings, that I don't think will serve you well, at least not in the long run,
Right.
right? Yeah, don't carry those feelings,
Right.
um, and find a way to overcome them. And yeah, find people who can support you and your purpose.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Anything else left unsaid on the topic of purpose in the workplace?
Um, surround yourself with people who will lift you up and you lift each other up so that what's a better feeling than coming to work, being excited to come to work every day because you have wonderful people to work with. You love the work that you do, um, and the customers that you serve, and then to see results, and the company doing well, right? So that
Mhm.
again comes full circle. So yeah, just that.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for being on Purpose Project. I've really enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you, Leslie. I hope that was helpful.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
sharing
Yes.
sharing laughs, creating memories, right? That's what it's all about at the end of the day. It's
Yeah.
not material things, right? Come and go. But memories, time spent together is really what you remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie.
As I reflect on this conversation with Ting Mei, I am reminded of the diverse ways in which purpose manifests itself in people's lives. I've heard people describe their purpose as a goal. I've heard people describe their purpose as a responsibility. And I've heard others, like Ting Mei, describe their purpose more in terms of the ways that they want to show up in this world. Ting Mei's commitment to live a life seeking happiness isn't something that she saves for her time outside of the workplace. It's an integral part of who she is, influencing not just herself, but every interaction in and outside of the workplace. Ting Mei, thank you so much for being on Purpose Project and for living a life of happiness. And thanks to all of you for tuning in. Purpose Project is brought to you for education and for entertainment purposes. This podcast is not intended to replace the advice that you would receive from a licensed therapist or doctor or any other qualified professional.